Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your host, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. Russell, it's off season still.
It's the off season, but there's so much happening.
It is. It feels busy.
The NBA's got it perfectly timed now. It just becomes this 12-month-a-year machine where it just keeps coming. And then
it's a juggernaut.
And in addition to that, the way that the schedule all got messed up because of COVID and the printing, there's a lot of releases still coming out. So Mosaic is the one we're going to talk about this week. It's just never ending at the moment. And something we're not going to talk about, it's also happening, is the big Fanatics Fest in America, because
wow,
I didn't put it into the sheet because I'm like, it's very hard for us to cover it. We're on the other side of the world. There's so much content out there.
Is this like Comic-Con for Fanatics?
Basically, it's their own.
It's their own version. Yeah. Okay.
Did you see the Blaze brothers at the nightclub?
No. I've been off socials a little bit this week.
They looked very excitable. Perhaps that something had been consumed to make them so excited.
On some uppers. Something
potentially.
Something
allegedly.
Appearances, yeah.
Appearances of, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we're gonna start the show with a pitch. Actually, we're gonna say thank you for everyone's support. Our gift to you has been this podcast.
Yeah.
And if you could help us out by following our social medias, even if it's just one of them, if you could follow us on Instagram, we would really appreciate that.
Yeah, love that.
And if you already follow us on Instagram, can you please follow us on YouTube for two reasons? Because each week we go live on YouTube, so you would get a notification when we go live. You can jump on, you can have a talk in the chat, but also too, our podcasts are also on YouTube now too. So that's something else.
Yeah, it's like a double dip, isn't it?
If you'd like to access the podcast, but if you could like one of our socials this week, we would really, really appreciate that.
It's really different to the usual YouTube one, because normally isn't it like the video, tick the bell, you can
whatever you want to do, you can like, subscribe, or whatever.
I like the way you handled that. That was very, very not generic. It was very
thanks
very much
from the heart, Ad. Yeah,
it is
from the heart.
It is. I mean, if they're showing love, they can also jump onto their favorite podcast platform, be it Spotify,
whatever
Apple Podcasts.
It is. Exactly.
Leaving reviews actually helps a lot. So
every bit helps us. I think that's the best way to say it. Yeah,
helps get our name out there.
Alrighty, now this is fresh news. This literally just ended tonight, actually. And Ad, I put this in there for you, to be perfectly honest. This was a auction that ended today at Golden, so the king of collectibles himself. A Kobe Bryant 1-of-1 on-card autograph logo man from 2003, 2004 Upper Deck Ultimate Collection. It finished at $1.584 million. Adam, how does this make you feel?
I want that card. I really want that card.
Yeah, it's on your to buy list. Yeah,
it's probably on my unobtainables list. Probably is like, I think there's more than a probable.
I mean, you never know.
Who knows?
That small amount of crypto you bought could.
Yeah, that's it. PSA 9.
1000x. Yeah.
It's a 9. So PSA 9. Imagine what it'd be if it was a PSA 10.
I think for these big cards, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 even, you know.
Authentic. That's all it needs to be.
That's Wow,
$1.5 million. Kobe Bryant 1-on-1 logo man.
Is that high for you, low for you? What do you think about that?
I think that's yeah, I think that's an appropriate number. I think 1.5 million makes sense for that kind of card. It's not a rookie card, but hell, it is a hell of a card.
Yeah.
1-of-1 patch. Yeah, it's like it's.
So I think for me,
imagine owning that card.
I think for me, the low-hanging fruit here is to say, the hobby's dead, all right? So let's just throw that out there and get that over and done with.
Yeah.
And then I think the next thing is then you start to think about other one-of-ones that have sold recently. And, comp it to that. So the one that's in my head at the moment is that Wemby Black Shimmer that sold for $500,000.
Yeah.
is this 3 times the card that is, or do you say
I would say
this is
yes.
this is actually, is it better value than that Wemby? Do you know? So that's sort of where my head is at the moment. And then obviously the other one at the moment, which this will be actually the perfect segue. Let's just roll into this next. Is the Topps Now 1 of 1, which is the LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant autograph.
How good? It's smart by Topps, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very smart.
Not NBA uniforms.
Yeah, well pointed out, Ed. Very good.
Got them in their Team USA, which is not an NBA uniform.
Very clever, Ed. That I actually did not pick up on. So I think the politicking or the behind the scenes stuff on that is that 2 people have put large bounties on it. So the first one was Jeff Wilson. He put $100,000 bounty on it. He also offered to fly you out to his Atlanta headquarters first class, and you get to do a tour with him.
Yeah.
He'll let you pick a box off the shelf and you get to open that up. Then he'll take you to one of the professional sports games in his local. So it's either going to be, basketball, hockey, or is it NFL? I'm not even too sure. It's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then Ken Golden came back and said he'll give you $150,000 cash plus free consignment. So then whatever money you get back from the card. So I don't know how Golden gets money out of this unless he thinks it's going to be $1 million card.
It'll be when it says 0 consignment. So some of the fees will be gone, but their cut will still remain. I would assume. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying to you though. Like, so obviously he thinks his cut is going to be at least $150K.
Yeah, for sure.
You would think he wants to break even, or unless he just wants to stick it to Jeff and.
But it could be column A and B at this stage. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, you were talking about smart before. So yes, let's definitely keep that, what you said in mind. That is actually very smart. Now, the way they released this is that they advertised it and they were selling them for a week online. And how it worked was everybody who went on there could purchase a packet. And then they adjust the print run to how many people buy packets.
Yeah.
So the total print run was 588,030. And then in those packets are then randomly inserted all the different parallels. And then, of course, that 1 of 1. So let's just dumb it down because there was different price scalings there, but let's just call it $9 US a packet. So then for $9 US a packet, you have the chance to hit this 1 of 1, and you have the chance to get the other parallels and autographs that are put into there. So I think in terms of marketing, I think in terms of transparency for how many cards is in there, because that's also, we've talked about this with Panini. It's like we have no idea how much Select is being printed out here. Or remember when they were doing Chronicles, how much Chronicles are they busting out between hobby, retail, and blasters, and all and the hangers and all the rest in between.
Yeah,
that's very transparent. I think collectors do enjoy that. And then also too, just that whole Topps Now thing. I think that's something that Panini did do Panini Instant, but
they did.
It's pretty well agreed that they didn't do it very well, and this is just amazing.
They didn't capitalize. They could have.
Absolutely, they could have. Doing stuff like this is amazing. So I think, yes, Fanatics are going to do some bad stuff, but obviously they're going to be doing some really good stuff too. And this is, I think, a really good example of that. So my position on Fanatics is always going to be the same. I'm not passing judgment until I see what I see, and then I'm going to say whether it's good or bad. So, but this is a huge green tick for me. That's my perspective on this.
Yeah. I like this.
Did you buy packets?
No, I wish I had have.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I would have liked to. I had a busy week, unfortunately.
No, look, it's amazing how quickly things can go past you. I'm the same with eBay auctions. Sometimes I put bids down, then before I realize that, a week's gone past and I haven't checked back on it. I get that 100%.
Yeah,
look,
definitely.
I didn't buy any on purpose because, to be honest, I barely watched any Olympics at all. It's not something that I'm particularly heavily chasing or anything like that. I think if I'm honestly telling the truth here, if I was going to go into it, it'd be for the gamble to get that 1 of 1.
Yeah.
And then not sell it to Jeff Wilson. That would be my plan.
Literally. Literally.
Yeah.
Buy your lotto tickets and then stitch him right up.
Yeah, it's just like a lotto ticket purchase, isn't it? Alrighty. So what I really wanted to actually start the show with is this off-season buying. So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
So this whole off-season buying segment is based around the premise that as we go into the off-season, the hobby starts to cycle down a little bit,
Mm.
prices start to come down a little bit, the heat will come off some things.
Mm.
And then it's a good time to actually go out and buy a big card. So think about your card buying list. And that's the second part of this too. Something that this is going back to the old school days. This is from Card School when
Yeah.
Neb and Shane were doing their podcast. And I think this was Neb's baby, actually. Sit down and write a list out of the cards that you actually want. Put that list away. Try your best to stick to it so you're not making those impulsive purchases of cards at a vending machine or buying into breaks, $10, $20 there. Make a list and, and curate it. Add to it. Take things off it. Increase the list up and down, all that type of stuff. So, yeah, I think this is definitely a good time to it. But one thing that has definitely come to my mind, it doesn't always mean that it is the best time to buy that card. So, and this is probably where my thought process has changed a little bit. Like I definitely used to wait for the end of the year, whereas now I kind of have this like little kitty of money that I've been saving up, and I just have it ready to go now because it's really funny how things in the hobby do happen now. And I don't think waiting to the end of the year is particularly a home run strategy all the time. So, case in point for me, at the moment, in my checklist or in my buy list, as a joke, I've got Nikola Jokic 1, 2, and 3. But actually, he's had a fantastic Olympics. And if anything, he hasn't particularly gone down. He might have actually gone up a smidge. Or at worst case, he's staying the same. So, the thing that I was hoping he would go down 20%, or maybe I would get lucky and get a 25% discount on, a really nice Jokic card. But actually, I feel like that's not really how the market's played out for me. So I'm sure there's other examples too. I haven't actually comped this out, but I'm going to say if you're buying Steph Curry at the moment, I think that will be difficult.
Yeah,
I
well,
think
that's cooked me, hasn't it?
after the way that he played at the Olympics, like, again, I didn't even sit down and watch heaps of Olympics, but geez, I saw the highlights of it, and I saw the condensed games of what he did. It was breathtaking. So I think that will be the same sort of case there, and dare I say, LeBron's going to be the same too, man. So this is definitely segueing a little bit here, but this is something we should look into is Kevin Durant. Has his prices moved in a positive way after having such a fantastic Olympics and shutting Jason Tatum out?
Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, there was a thing on the social media today. I saw it, and it's the Evans, Evins. So Devin Booker and Kevin Durant.
Oh, okay.
Versus the Jays, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. It's the Jays and the Evans. That's where the rivalry is. Slow news day. That's all I can say.
I was going to say, people have a lot of time on their hands, don't they?
I was thinking back to my stocks, and it's like JAY stocks. It's Boston. Investing in the Jays.
Mm.
The Evans. Vins?
Yeah, right.
The Vins.
All right.
Call them the Vins.
So let's segue here for 2 seconds.
Oh.
This is probably...
We're out of off-season buying and we're going to Kevin Durant?
No, we're coming back to that.
Okay.
So this is the 2007 Topps Kevin Durant PSA 10 with a black border. So look, there's other examples you can look at, but I've just pulled this one up really quickly. In the last 3 months, that's actually up a lot. That's up 74%. So a very small sample size, and obviously that's only one card, but that actually does fit into the idea in my head that he's on the upwards.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Adam, do you want to share your list with us? Some cards that you have got.
Some cards that I've got. Well,
that you'd like to purchase. Yeah, that's on your list.
I had a Steph Curry Kaboom.
Great.
But there's definitely...
How's that going for the Steph Curry hunt at the moment?
They're tracking in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I also have Steph Curry rookie card on my list.
Yeah.
That is also tracking in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a couple of little Randalls that I've sort of I'm not even, there's not even worth linking, but there's a couple of like rainbow chasers that I'm just slowly working at with Randall, and there's not much else for me. I wanted a Steph Curry was my big focus this off season, and thanks Olympic Steph Curry. You've ruined my off season.
You've ruined Adam's off season. Yeah, well done.
Look, I'm actually after a segment you did a little while back. I've been looking at different parallels, so just sort of looking at parallels and different players that I want. So the hunt for my Johnny Kilroy and is still continuing as well, which Joe and I talked about. Yeah, that's. I want a PSA 10 in that. So see a lot of nines.
Like you could do a nice little social media post about that, Ed.
Yeah. Looking to buy.
We had a few listener responses to this. So Sean Alloway, thank you very much. Trying to snatch up an Eamon Thompson rookie card to add to my send to PSA one-day pile. Also case hits, kabooms, slates that are going to look good on the shelf. And there's another one we can add to that list, the micro mosaic, which we're going to froth over later on in the show, Sean. So definitely check that out if you haven't done so already. Brad Van, excuse my pronunciation, Delft. The hunt is always on for my 2015-16 JJ Redick Prism Rainbow and a JJ Downtown. Only ever seen one up for sale and was sniped on it.
Oh, the Redick was in the. I think that was in the 2000. That was in the studio release.
Your memory is fantastic because actually Brad put a picture in the comment inside of that 2016 Panini Studio.
There it is.
Downtown PSA 10 in a Clippers uniform.
Wow, I remember that because that's the same release that the Kobe was in.
What a funny person to put into an insert set.
JJ Redick.
Yeah. Particularly a case hit insert set. That's a very...
Very, yeah.
Anyway, but great for if you're a JJ collector because...
Yeah. We've got Andy Britannia. Still hunting for a first off-the-line gold wave to finish my set. And the player is Ayo.
Yep.
Nice little patch there. The number to 3. That's going to be a hell of a chase.
Yeah. I think if you're just chasing that particular card, I think that's one thing to itself. If you're buying Ayo at the moment, I was pretty high on him last year, but I think the moves that the Bulls have made this offseason, it's going to make it a little bit difficult for him to get on the court. You never know, but I just...
They have a history of injuries, so you never know.
Yeah, I'm just sort of cooling off on him a little bit from probably where I was in the last 12 months. But anyway, look, let's see how it goes this year because if he does have a big developmental jump, I think he's still got a bit of potential there.
True.
Matthew Hull, I want kabooms and slates. Yeah, that's... as stupid as that sounds, that's also very simple and it's the right thing to say, isn't it? You know, if they're coming down in price in the off-season now, snatch up these things that are, you know, well-priced.
Steph Curry ones aren't going down. Rookies. Just going to say, Steph Curry ones, not going down.
Yeah, it's good. Matthew, that's a good answer, mate, honestly. Yeah.
And I'm only chasing rookies now.
Yep. Great. You do get to a point in your collecting where you're like, look, I've got enough of all this other extra stuff. This will do now.
Yeah, that's true. Andrew Dean, have been hunting this particular non-numbered card. Is it even out there?
Yeah, right. You're a hardcore collector when you're chasing a certified freshman fabric, aren't you?
Freshman fabric, Zeke
Probably
Naji.
Not even game worn or event worn and a sticker auto. Like that's when you're really deep down the rabbit hole, Andrew.
Just wants it.
So good luck with your chase, man.
Very specific.
Levi Coombe, the Kaboom Keontae George. Yeah. So this is a funny one for me. Obviously I love Kabooms. The only thing is I wonder if Keontae George in 12 months is actually going to be lower. With that sort of, rookie cycle of, the next sort of batch comes through. And I don't know what's going to happen in Utah next year. I don't think they're going to try and win again.
They just signed Patty Mills.
Yeah, but
They don't know what that makes that relevant.
I
In
think
any
they're
way,
going to be
shape.
in the Cooper Flag sweepstakes. I don't think they're going to be a real.
I think you're right.
We can talk about this a little bit, the Jazz a bit more, because we're going to talk about Laurie Marketing later in the show. And actually,
Yeah.
there was a really, really good podcast that did like a deep dive into it. It was was it ESPN or a Ringer podcast? I can find this and put it onto socials later on. But they literally spoke about this for 40 minutes about all the pros and cons of like what's going to happen in Utah this year. Like if you're a basketball nerd, it was just fantastic. So my list is Nikola Jokic. He's definitely my 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I've pretty much decided now that in terms of the Prism PSA 10s are just out of my for his rookie stuff are just out of my price range.
That's
so
fair.
I'm gonna go for a numbered 9, but actually even that I'm having a bit of difficulties with. So now I'm starting to think maybe I might go to an 8 and then
Ooh, okay.
put that away and then see if I can jump up to a 9.
Do you ever think
later
about
on.
BGS rather than?
The only time I would do BGS would be to cross it over, but there's just so much risk with doing that.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
If you can get a 9.5 at a 9 price, then you might be able to cross it up to a 10. Sorry.
Yeah, or you could get your pants pulled down and they'll take it to an 8. You know what I mean? It's just like
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
That would be just me. Yeah.
Got to risk it for the biscuit, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
You're right. You're right.
So the next thing on my chase list is the 75th anniversary insert set that happened. It's now 2 seasons
a couple
ago.
years
isn't
ago.
it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 99 cards in that set. I have 92 of them. I just need 7 more to go.
Wow.
So I'm pretty happy about that. Basically, what I just every week I've just sort of gone onto ComC or onto eBay and just picked up a couple here and there. So I've just been chipping away.
Is that
at
the
it.
base?
So,
is it the base?
well, they're all
Different.
prisms, or they're all hollows. Basically, I don't believe there's any numbered and anything like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but basically, I've been picking them up. Even the LeBrons and stuff like that. I've been getting them for $10 each.
Okay.
The vast majority of them, I picked them off ComC for $1 or $2. So it hasn't been a crazy expensive chase. But it's just the last 5 of them, and really interesting. It's all the Mosaic ones, which were not in the Mosaic set; they were in Select or something. So anyway,
okay,
I'll get there eventually. Herb Jones is still on my list. I'm really enjoying picking him up for cheap. Now the Micro Mosaic, I'm going to hold my thoughts on that until later on because we're going to talk about that a little bit.
You mentioned that twice. This sounds exciting.
Wemby's now on my checklist, and then I'm actually going to steal from Matthew Hull here. I did have it on my own list, but I'm just going to acknowledge his thing is the Kabooms and the Downtowns.
Yeah.
I've already got a Downtown. I will definitely upgrade that, but I do not actually have a Kaboom in my own PC, so that's something
I would like more Kabooms.
You want more? Okay.
I have a taste. I want more.
Yeah. Right, we should go to our first commercial break, Adam. We should have a break. We'll have some music if you're listening to the radio show on Central Coast Radio, and we will be back. Thank you to our primary sponsor, US Sports Cards Australia. They're going to be sponsoring us for at least the next 6 months, So thank you to your commitment to our show. US Sports Cards Australia. Find them at ussportscardsaustralia.com.au. You'll see everything that Ross has got up for sale there. He's got storage, he's got hobby boxes, he's got memorabilia, he's got singles, which takes us to our next part of what US Sports Cards Australia are working on at the moment is the ComC equivalent, but in Australia. So basically you give your cards to Ross, he will put them onto the website. You can then purchase them. At the end of the month, he will send you out money for the cards that you've sold. It's really as simple as that. If you're interested in this service, there is a form you can complete, or you can just DM Ross Taunton on Facebook. You will find him there. Thank you so much to US Sports Cards Australia for your support of the show. We really, really appreciate it. And we are back. Adam, how are you feeling? Are you feeling refreshed?
I'm very refreshed. Very
Great.
refreshed.
What are you drinking? I should ask you that.
I've got water. Just water. Good old fashioned.
That is
H2O.
refreshing. Yeah, H2O. Yep. Yeah. Good. Now we should shout out to Central Coast Radio.
We should.
CentralCoastRadio.com. 24 hours a day music and radio shows. They've done a fantastic job of curating local talent and local shows, including us.
Yes.
Tuesday, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Thursdays, 10 a.m. till noon. And Saturday, 3:15 a.m. to 5:15 a.m. are our 3 time slots, Adam.
Nice.
Now, we are deliberately late night and very early mornings. We're hoping to break into the US market. So that's why we haven't been banished to the corner ad. Don't worry about that.
No, 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 no.
I
Never,
actually
never
asked for
crossed
that
my
on
mind.
purpose. Yeah,
We've requested it specifically,
that's right.
like very few people have. But
Yeah. Alrighty. Mosaic basketball is out. I love Mosaic, so we're going to talk about it. Too bad if you don't like it, Ad. This is the product that got me back into the hobby, so it has a very special sort of place into my heart. If you want a little bit of history on Mosaic, originally it was a parallel that was in Prism, and then they split it off into its own product. And when it first came out, it was like a hybrid of Prism Choice, but it had about 30 cards in the box, and every card was a parallel, so there was no base in it at all. And then after 1819, they blew it out. They increased the checklist. Of course they did, everything that happened sort of post-COVID.
yeah,
Then they added retail to it, and so it sort of became this different thing. But now Mosaic has sort of evolved again. Like this year, actually, I really like it. So the pros about Mosaic is that it's the uniform and the pictures. So it's almost like season 2 where they've got everything, all the players are in their right uniforms and
yeah.
that. And then so there's a city edition insert set in this one. And actually Joe Dennison was talking about this on his break, and he pointed out, well, they have a city edition card in hoops, but the differential with this is that it's about focusing on the jersey. So there's the city edition jerseys,
Yeah.
and that if you enjoy looking at the jerseys and stuff like that, actually this product will appeal to you because it has them in all their different jerseys. So if you look at the cards for Prism and Mosaic, actually they're all in different jerseys. So sometimes we criticize Panini, when they're not making enough effort for the photographs and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
in this particular set, they go to a lot of effort to get the pictures different. So that's sort of something that makes it stand out a little bit. And then the traditional case hit in this was the stained glass, and that did pretty well in terms of the after sales. But then last year they changed it up and they made it super weird in that they still had that, but then they made the razzle dazzle the case hit. So if you look at the pure population on these cards, actually there's more stained glass in last year's, but the sales are still much better on the stained glass. Like people didn't sort of connect that sort of together. But now this year they've made a true case hit, and it's called the Micro Mosaic. So if you just check out that link that we've put up, it says Micro Facebook ad.
Yeah, I've got it.
That'll take you this little link that I put together tonight. So that obviously is the Eamon Thompson. I really like this insert. Well, it's an insert. We can call it that.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is what to me is a little bit interesting, is because I've watched 3 cases of this and only 2 came out. So
Oh wow.
when we talk about SSPs, and I feel like that's something that's thrown around quite a lot, like this is a true SSP. So for example, let's compare this to Crown Royale Kaboom, which is the one that I'd probably say that's one of the most chased SSPs that's out there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's in hobby, and there's obviously the base, and then they've got the numbered, and then the 1 of 1.
Sure.
But now there's like an international set of Crown that also has Kabooms in it too. So I almost feel that the Kabooms have now been diluted out a little bit, and probably that's why I'm pretty high on this, because the impression I get on this is people aren't going to be chasing these too hard. But in terms of the population on these, I think it's going to be quite low. So we need some time to see how this is going to play out yet. So this is just what I'm deducing in my head at the moment. And we can talk to Ryan and we can get some insights from Ryan from Gemrate on this in the future. But I would say keep it, a bit of a sneaky eye on these. Put some into your eBay queues, soft bid on them, just sort of see where they end up, and just sort of follow these along a little bit. And particularly in say 4 or 5 months time, when all the heat comes off it, and and the next product comes out, I think these are the type of cards that will be quite nice, I think, long term to hold on to. So
yeah.
And this is a very, again, Russell centric thing to say, but they've also changed up the checklist a little bit. They've got some nice veterans in there, and Darren Fox is in this too. So he's not traditionally in these super short print checklist. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about this,
that
and
he's
I'll
actually in there.
yeah, I'll definitely eventually pick one up, but I'm still going to try and focus on my yo kick, and then I'm going to get around to the micro. So that's why I had that in my checklist, obviously for
Mm.
Darren Fox. Yeah. In terms of comps on these and how many have sold and all that type of stuff, look, there's not a lot of data out there, but the Eamon Thompson sold for 505 US. There's a
Sheesh.
Ja Morant that's sold for 540. I mean, that makes sense. He's a big dog in the league. The
Curry
Darren
sold for 698.
Yeah, so that's interesting, right? Fox sold for 285 and the Chet Holmgren for 230. So,
Wow.
it's obviously it's early days
Okay.
still. Yeah.
Yeah. 430 on the Keontae George.
So
Okay.
I think some of these prices will come down a little bit,
Yeah, yeah,
give it a
yeah.
little bit of time, but that's very healthy sales I think for
There's another. Yeah, I was gonna say there's another Fox sale for 187 as well.
yeah. Yeah.
So there's a few. Okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting insert. I like it.
I put a post up on Sports Cuts Nonsense. Shout out to the boys at Sports Cuts Nonsense. You are the king of card related podcast content. And look, I will admit I'm not listening to their content as much as I used to because I don't want to be too derivative, but I had to unfortunately do a lot of driving last week. So I listened to two of their shows. They did
Nice.
a really good job covering the CT scanner stuff. We didn't get a lot of input here, but we did get Carnage Cards sharing some Fox cards with us. Wade Anthony getting a Heat Triple J is a must. Sick PC card. Yep, definitely Wade. It's a great PC cards. And Matthew Hull, 100%. These are gorgeous cards. So yeah, I think Panini,
Mm.
this is an absolute home run. Ad, where are you at with Mosaic this year?
I'm not normally the highest on Mosaic, but
Yep, that's fair enough.
I tell you what,
Yep.
I do like the design, and I do
Yep.
like some of these inserts. Like this is a very pretty card.
Yeah, that's right. So I think all of it is not beautiful. In fact, I'll go to say some of it's ugly. I think the base is
Mm.
ugly, and I would also even go out on a limb and say like the silvers are ugly, but the inserts that are done in mosaic are actually really good. So
Mm.
stained glass, the Wemby sold for 2,200. The Trey Young sold for $50. I quite like that. I like those different price points that you can jump in at and still get a bit of a taste of everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Agree
Are you
completely.
buying any of this stuff?
I'm looking at it. It might be as far as an SSP. I mean, if it's the new Kaboom, you're getting in on the ground floor, right? But it's not. To me, it's not
No.
quite the new Kaboom.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's more something just to keep your eye on in the background. And
Mm.
in 5 or 6 months, let's just go back and check the pops on these and just say, look,
Yeah.
maybe this is actually an angle, something to have a look at. But
Options for yeah, yeah.
who knows the true print runs on these with Panini, man? They could be hundreds each. Like you
That's
just
true.
don't know. Yeah.
That's true.
Now, I do want to talk about this one more card, and then we'll go and talk about something else. Ad. So they've done a good job with the mosaic prints, and they've also done a good job with these glitters that they've put in. Now, the person that advertised these is Case Hit SSP, but I think for me the micro is the true case hit on these, and these are just short prints. I don't think you can
Mm.
actually truly call them an SSP, a super short print,
Yeah.
but they're really nice. They are really nice in hand. In terms of comps, 23-24 mosaic glitter, Brandon Miller sold for 223.
Whoo.
I'm actually really surprised about that because the last couple of years I've been picking these up, just veteran ones,
Yeah.
even for $5 or $10 these have been selling for. So the fact that now they're sort of picking up a little bit more heat, it's a really good thing because I think the last couple of years, go back and check them out. If you can pick them up
Mm.
for cheap, actually, I think they're good pickups. The population is quite low. The other high point of Mosaic too is that they do inserts and they do crazy ones. They sort of just throw mud at the wall and see what sticks.
Yep.
One they've done this year is the in-season tournament. So the highlight of these cards is the artwork. Because remember for the
The
in-season
court
tournament,
had the custom court.
that's right. Yeah. So on this one here, it's just basically like a picture of the court. Let you look at all the graphics on that, and then they overlay a picture of like Nikola Jokic or Brandon Podozemski. So yeah,
Or
that's
Steph
kind of
Curry over the. Yeah, okay.
yeah, it's kind of cool. They've done a good job on that.
Nice. Okay.
All right, why don't we take a break because we went a little bit long in our first break.
Why
That'll
not?
even us out, and we'll come back and we'll talk some more.
We'll dive deeper.
Yeah. Alrighty, we are back. Let's talk some hobby hangout. Adam,
Hobby Hangout.
where are you going to be on the 17th of November?
I think I'm going to be at the Hobby Hangout.
Good answer, my friend. Well done.
It's a wild guess, but an educated wild guess.
Melbourne Hobby Hangout is the 17th of November, so please, guys, pick up your tickets.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the hobbyhangout.com.au. It'll direct you to the Oztix page where you can buy your tickets. Currently, tickets are $29. That's the early bird tickets. If you purchase an early bird ticket, you also go into the draw for a $500 Hobby Hangout voucher. After the early bird tickets have sold out, the prices go up to $35. So if you do want to save $5 to spend on more cards once you get to the Hobby Hangout, definitely get on that.
Yep.
This year, they've changed it up a little bit. Every person entering in will get a little show bag when they come in. So that's really cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
Hopefully, they'll be better than the Fanatics bags that I've heard people spent $500 on and got $10 worth of stuff out of it. So that will be good. And announcing the Sydney show. So Sydney will be in the 1st of December at the Sydney Roundhouse. Trading zone, poker zone, workshop, guide to card grading, live breaks, panel with Matthew Payne. Now, I'm just randomly going to read out a bunch of stuff here. Card Fever, Mike Fett trading cards, SJ2K, Pops Galore, local collectibles, J Swish. Oh,
Okay.
cool. The Corner Post, Card Slinger, and Breakneck Collectibles will be there, amongst others. That is not.
That's just some of the list.
I've just read one off per line. That's how many lines of vendors is going to be there. So get down on it. Have a great day. They're always improving, working on it, making it a really good experience for people that turn up. So thank you, Hobby Hangout, for your support of sponsoring the show. We really do appreciate it. Alrighty, let's talk about a non-basketball conversation. Because this is so crazy that I felt like we had to talk about it.
I know which one we were going to go into now.
So this was actually in the sheet last week, so this could be very well old news for everybody, but I still think there is some relevance to us to talk about this. So this is in an NFL product where it was a first off the line, multiple different breakers, then we're having 25 downtowns in a single case. And so the first people to break it was Backyard Breaks because they're obviously very good at the social media and all the rest of it. But actually it turned out to be, there was many other different breakers that it happened to.
Wow.
And really interesting too, and this is something that we can now talk about because it's 2 weeks down the track. When we talk about people getting loaded boxes and stuff like that, well, actually, these were like breakers that were the same size as me. Maybe a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit smaller, but they were literally, nobodies in the breaking business. So that's kind of a good thing that, dudes like that got these cases that were loaded because it sort of implies that...
sharing the love, so to speak.
Yeah, those loaded boxes aren't just being given to Blaze and not just being given to Backyard Breaks. The negatives are obviously that means that these loaded cases probably implies that then other cases are going to be a bit short. Panini actually came out with a statement to then say, in fact, no, they've done an independent review of what happened at the printing center. They did imply blame on it's a new printing center that has happened to it, and that's what's contributed to the problem, basically inexperience. And I think for me the interesting part about this is because usually Panini don't say anything publicly at all.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder why. What would Panini's interest be in addressing this publicly? Can you think of any reasons why people would do this?
Why Panini would address it publicly?
I said people, but what I should have said is, why do you think Panini went out to say that? Yeah.
I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini went out to say that. Yeah. I think Panini w I'm not sure. I mean, they've.
So my theory, or my conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
is that they're still sitting on 500 cases of this product. And so if the general consensus is that, well, 25 cases have come out, these are obviously the loaded cases, and now we're going to be left over with all these cases
And
that
the rest is
don't
going to be
even
trash.
have a single downtown in it, well, then obviously the after sale is going to drop dramatically.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
Panini can't even shift it off at wholesale prices. Like, who wants to touch that stuff?
Yeah, that's
But
true. I agree.
if the consensus is, well, actually, no, you will be getting a downtown in it, and the rest of the cases are still whole, well, then fantastic. Then some sales will still happen. That's all good for everybody.
It's like when a product comes out and the Wemby 1 of 1 comes out already, and you're like, oh, great, what's the point?
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the basketball relevant example of that was when Blaise did the numbers and then bought up as many cases as he could of Prism Choice from the Cadia.
Yeah.
He's like, all these 1 of 1s are still out there. Like, this is, really good value. I suppose it's the direct opposite, isn't it, though? Okay, all the downtowns are out there. All the good cards are gone.
Yeah.
Why do I want to buy this nonsense?
If the 1 of 1 checklist was the opposite way and none of the good names were in,
no one's buying that stuff.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to buy the whole lot. Exactly. So,
yeah, true.
I think what does come into my mind, though, again, if we want to loop this back to NBA, so we're just talking about the micro mosaic. This to me is the polar opposite.
Yeah.
Like, there's not one of these per case. There's less than one per case.
That's insane.
So, yeah. So to then see 25 of a case hit.
Yeah. But yeah,
it does make me feel a bit weird about the whole thing. I don't understand, and what I'm about to say, do not treat this as not even gospel. Don't even treat it as something that's relevant. But
yeah,
my understanding though is that these also come out of retail. So I don't think they are considered a true case hit the way that we consider a case hit in basketball. But nevertheless,
yeah,
to have 25 in more than one case is crazy stuff.
It's nuts.
Yeah. Does it make you want to buy a case hoping that you'll get 25 in one?
No.
Okay.
No. Because I know my luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that would not be. I feel like it would not bear fruit.
Yeah. So we did some optic choice on our page, and we had the exact opposite experience. We didn't get an autograph in our box, and we then had 2 dragons, which is supposed to be, again, an SSP. So Panini just all over the place. It just doesn't.
That's true. Look at this.
Make a lot of sense. But anyway,
one of the dragons was. We need to rephrase. NBA champion and Olympic gold medalist Derek White.
Yeah.
Yep.
You called the Derek White spot on, man. He nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. So there's that short print in optic. There's also the Jazz. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd prefer some of the stuff that comes out of Mosaic to that stuff.
Yeah,
optic is such a weird product for me.
It's a pretty odd. The dragon is a bit of a.
It's really weird. I find I used to really enjoy optic because the price point, there was a definite difference between it, and in my head I was like, actually, I'm getting a bit of value here, but the price on sealed optic for me is quite high. I'm almost like, it's not that much different to Prism, and then the after sale difference between the two is so, like, Prism is, say, double or triple what you would get for optic. So in my head now, that equation all just doesn't make sense. So for me, I find optic very derivative. Yeah,
it's not great. I have to admit, looking at the card, I'm not.
Not that particularly. Well, also my photography was pretty shite ad, but I don't think this is going to matter too much more in 2 years' time, does it? It's going to be chrome, right?
Topps chrome.
Yeah.
All the Topps chrome. Refractors.
Let's do one more, and
right.
then we'll get to a break. So this is from our friends at Card Ladder. This is the Beam Team Michael Jordan 1995 Stadium Club.
Whoa.
PSA 10.
Not the no, it's not the Beam Team we're used to seeing. Not the the
It's a
earlier
different one, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I still thought this would be good to talk about for two reasons. The price point is $13,000, so it's high for an insert, but the population on this is very low, and this is the part that I'm probably interested to talk to you about the most because we sort of considered this time, you know, the ultimate junk wax era, but then we're getting cards like this that just have a population of 29 on it. Like that arguably is less than some of the case hits that, you know, we're tossing around these days. So
That's true.
look, I actually think, yes, this is very high, but considering what the population is, and obviously the man that's plastered across the card with his tongue sticking out,
It's pretty good card. It's
I
yeah.
think that's a really good buy. I think it's definitely high, and I think you would have wished you bought it for, what does it say, $200?
$200
To
back
be
in
fair,
2014.
yeah, well, even in 2007. That's a fair while ago. Let's just go down the middle. Say $400. That would have been quite nice, wouldn't it? That graph is not to scale. $20 here and then 20,000 at the top. That is not to scale at all. That's very deceiving.
That is a very, very weird.
Who did the maths on that?
It's somebody.
That's giving me
at
OCD,
Card
and I
Ladder.
don't have OCD about that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird.
That's totally weird.
It's a nice looking card though.
Yeah.
Very different.
Where would you put that in terms of your collectability? Are you chasing this? Do you think it's something that you would get in the future? Like, you know, where do you put this?
Beam teams, like old beam teams. Oh,
So, okay, you love Kobe. Let's just say you could get a Kobe beam team. Like, where do you put these in terms of your
it's an
on your
interesting
chase
one.
list? Is there beam teams on your chase list? Yeah.
Well, there's a Scottie Pippen beam team, and they're cards I look out for, but they're definitely not ones that are at the top of my list, if that makes sense. So
I've got a raw Hakeem one, but maybe I should send it off and get it graded. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I did do a bit of 90s searching today, looking for some Shaqs.
Yeah, cool.
I want a Shaq rookie. I want to see if I can snag it.
Don't get influenced by Joe.
I just want a rookie. Just want his rookie.
Stick with Kobe and Steph, man. Don't get.
Oh no! Like that's
get brainwashed by Joe.
pocket change stuff. It's not.
Joe, we love you, man. I'm just ripping you, man.
There's enough Shaq collectors out there.
Alrighty, let's go to a break, and then we'll come and we'll finish off. We'll do some quick hitting segments.
Quick hitters for the final countdown.
I don't think we're going to get through all of this, but that's okay. We'll
do our best.
Some of this over.
We'll do our best.
We are back. Are you ready, Adam?
I am. I'm refreshed. Right. I'm back.
One of one Logoman featuring Giannis, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant sold for $122,000 on the 3rd of August. So again, a little bit of old news. Now, this is really relevant because we're talking about the Topps Now card with the 3 autographs on it. Okay, so this is actually a really good comp because 2 out of the 3 guys are on there. Yes, it's a different type of card. This is a Logoman. The other one's a signature, but it does give you some context in terms of comping because Jeff Wilson got a bit of hate online for his lowball offer of $100K. So now this really does emphasize. You can say at least that triple autograph is going to go for 200, 250. I think if you're looking at this went for 122.
Oh look, I think it's going to go for over 500.
Yeah, right.
With autos on it.
Okay, so he definitely lowballed people.
I don't know. I think it's a $500,000 card because you haven't seen LeBron's signature in so long.
Yeah, but that will change very, very quickly in the next
you're
2
right.
to 3 years. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. I mean, it's a big difference between that and the logo, the LeBron triple logo, man. How much did that go for? 3-point-something million? You know what I mean? Like I mean, I'll just take us back when we were looking at, was it Anthony Edwards versus like Wembanyama? And we're looking at different cards and numbered to 99s going for like thousands more than the other. And I don't know. It's time and a place thing, but there's no locking it down with these. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no getting a that's definitely going to go for 200k or that's definitely going to go for 500k.
Yeah.
I don't know. It ebbs and flows. It's like timing your eBay auction an hour late or an hour early, and it being 120,000 and 500,000.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I don't know. It's one of those weird things in the hobby
Yeah.
where prices aren't always you can't put a stamp on it. Yeah.
I'm actually very undivided on this. I actually think whoever purchased this for a very specific reason. So whether it was the LeBron James or the Durant or the Giannis, I find it almost very hard to believe that there's one person out there that loves all three of these guys.
Oh no, there's no doubt that it's for one of them.
And then the other thing I feel about this too is that some cards, particularly in the higher end stuff, I'm like, right, that's money in the bank. You put that away. That's going to be, good for your next generation or whatever. But this one, I don't really feel like that because I feel like this is such a particular card. When it goes to sale next time, if there isn't a particular buyer out there for it, it might not even get that back. That's how I feel about this. I think it's a great card. I think it's really cool, but I would have liked this more if it went for 85,000 or 50,000. 122. That to me is a little bit crazy.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah. This next one is just really to show some love to John Stockton. This is from Sunny Coast Collector on Instagram. Thank you, everyone, for the Instagram support lately. We've gone from 500 followers to 800 something in about 2 weeks at it. It's been absolutely crazy. We're up to 850 followers.
Nice.
We haven't paid for a single click, so thank you, everyone, for your support out there.
And thank you for all the work you do on the socials on Instagram, Russ.
Thank you for saying thank you. And actually, you said something nice to me last week too, which I didn't acknowledge. I can't remember the exact word that you said, but thank you.
Something about preparing the run sheet.
It made me feel really nice that next week I was like, yeah, he appreciates me, like, thank you. Back to John Stockton.
Yeah, we're showing our appreciation for John Stockton. I'm just
flawless card. Yeah, look, there's not really too much to say about this. Number 12 out of 15. I really like the design. The red and the white goes perfectly together. It's good to see Stockton back in the hobby. I feel like there's been a few years where there's been nothing out there. He's one of the greats. Yeah. I love this.
Yeah, beautiful card.
Caitlin Clark, 1 of 1. This is from Twitter at WNBAcards.com. Sports card investor with a nice flip on the Caitlin Clark 1 of 1. 3,000 to 7,600 in a week. So congratulations there. The consigner there was DC Sports 87. Now, I have bought through these guys. They have excellent processes and customer service. I don't know this for a fact, but I do get the feeling that a little bit of the activity that happens on Probstein in terms of other people bidding up cards, I kind of get the feeling that happens on this because, some of their cards go for very consistent prices, which does make me think there's something else going on there. In saying all of that, can you go onto eBay and something's not shield these days? I don't know. Anyway, Caitlin Clark is hot as anything at the moment. It's actually possible that her team's going to make the playoffs this year, which is the reason why she was
impressive.
Yeah, because the reason why, the easiest way to say this, and it's stupid, but the reason why she went number 1 to that team is because that team was so bad last year.
Yeah.
So to get them to the playoffs is a massive jump. Yeah.
That's huge.
Alrighty. Laurie Markkinen, 5-year extension for $238 million. Now, this is a really interesting one. And again, this was on a podcast on ESPN or something like that. So go and check that out. This is interesting because of the timing that they extended him. The date that they extended him means that he cannot be traded for the next 12 months, basically, for this season. So he doesn't have a no trade clause. However, he can't be traded without his consent. So it's effectively as good as a no trade. Yeah. So
he's giving himself a no trade clause without giving himself a no trade clause.
Well, you can say that, or the other way you can say it, and this is the way I'm looking at it, is that Utah basically gave him a no trade clause because they could have said, well, no, we're gonna sign you up before that date, and that would have given us the ability, and also too the amount of money that they paid this guy.
Yeah.
When I don't really think other teams would be out there to do that and to pony up to that.
Yeah.
That to me is a really sort of telltale sign. So
Yep.
clearly the Jazz are building around this guy. They think he's, one of their pieces for the
He
future.
has to be.
Or Danny Ainge knows he's getting Cooper Flag, and it's like the OKC Thunder thing where they've got all these young players under contract who are good, and then they can actually go out and spend some money on some veterans to, put around these good young
I see what
kids.
you're doing there. Yeah,
Complete
good point,
conspiracy theory, but at the same time, kind of fun to mess around with that.
Seems very, possible. We know what Danny Ainge has done in the past.
Would be funny if the number 1 pick went to Utah, so then 2 years in a row, it's like small market teams are getting the number 1 picks, wouldn't it?
It'd be interesting, for sure.
Are you buying Lauri Markkanen?
Nope.
That is a really good question.
No, just like no. I try to justify it. I'm glad to see a resurgence, but I'm sorry, Utah isn't on my radar as far as.
If you had been holding Lauri Markkanen in the last 2 years,
Yeah,
he actually has done really well.
I imagine he would have gone up quite a significant amount the last 12 months.
So look at the last 12 months. Actually, that's not true at all. He's actually down 16% in the last 12 months. In the last 2 years, however, he's up 185%. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Over the last
So
6
that's-
months, he's up 60%.
Yeah.
Down over the last year, you're right, yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, so the funny thing for me about this guy is the population. So population's 163, but all the things that you just said is also what is a little bit of a holding back factor.
Yeah.
In saying that, I think at that price point, $142, population 163, I think you'll be fine. I think buying in at that price point. Yeah. Alrighty. This next one is a complete nerd segment. Ty Washington has agreed to a 2-way contract with the Phoenix Suns. I think the main reason why I wanted to put this in here is he does have a little bit of low-key sort of niche hobby value. He was a Rockets rookie. I think the reason why I like this is because actually I think the Suns are going to be pretty good next year. They've done some really good...
It's injury. They've got to be injury-free, don't they?
Injury-free, but they've also added pieces to their roster that they needed, and they also added role players that are going to do things...
Yeah, for sure.
That their starters and their big boys, can't do. So I'm actually sort of low-key high on the Suns. And that's also the reason why I'm high on this kid, because I think he's got some good... Like, that's a really good 2-way contract pickup, because he's good enough to be on an NBA contract, but somehow they've convinced him to come to them on a 2-way contract.
He's got there on it. Yeah. He's got... Yeah. He's been fleeced.
Look, I think that's good for everyone.
Suns.
Yeah, it's really good. This next one is a bit of a funny one. And I thought, why not? If this guy was in the NBA these days, I think he would have lots of hype and he'd be super fun. 1997 Skybox Premium, Stephon Marbury, Thunder and Lightning.
Wow. I was talking about this card set the other day.
Yeah. I remember him back in the day on the Slam covers with like him and KG with like, their hats on backwards and all the massive chains and stuff like that. Like that was a cool duo, Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you about the Thunder and Lightning. Talk to us about that.
Oh, look, I was talking with Joe about it the other day. Like, I still like, I remember it was 95, 96, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, I didn't put that connection together, to be perfectly honest.
Shaq and Penny. I was talking with the Shaq, there was a Shaq and Penny Thunder and Lightning.
Yeah, right.
But that was the original ones where they had 2 players, like that. Yeah. I don't know. I did like the original one. But yeah, Stephon Marbury. God. I don't know. Is there a big market out there?
No, I don't think there is. But at the same time, I feel like if he was in today's hype machine, he would be, say, 10% or 15%, say less than Ja Morant. I really think that he has.
He's got Ferrugia factor.
Yeah, he definitely had it in the day. There was a lot of excitement around him, and like if you remember how bad the Wolves were, and people were excited for that team when it was Steph and KG together. Like that was a sick. I didn't have League Pass back in the day, but that would have been a League Pass team. That would have been awesome.
That would have been something to watch. Definitely back in 1997 for sure.
PSA 9 Thunder and Lightning sold for $1,025. I think for me the takeaway on this is that do you start looking around for cheap Thunder and Lightnings because they've got some potential there? Because I think for Steph Marbury, PSA 9, that to me is
It's one of
way,
those graded inserts, isn't it? It's
way higher than
yeah.
what I would expect him to go for. The only thing, again, that's,
High
worth
risk.
noting, well, it's population 4. I think the risk on that is pretty low, to be honest, man. If it's pop 4, yeah, I don't
But
mind that.
I mean, if you're picking up raw cards from the '90s to try and grade to,
Oh, you're saying that's high risk?
yeah,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
could be a bit of fun though.
Yeah.
Next big insert set.
This next one is a bit of a piss take at CGC. They have returned a card graded 9.5 mint plus when the card is so badly off cut. The top half of the card is Tyrese Martin and the bottom half of the card is Tony Parker. So this was actually put up by a parody account.
Lameme
James. I could never pronounce that properly. Thanks for saving me there. And CGC Cards actually replied to the meme page to say that there was a label error on it. I mean, I feel like this is when you do a panini and you just go silent. You just say nothing. This is just making you look worse. It should have been labeled as miscut. The attribute will be updated in the graders notes on the cert verification page. No one cares.
No one gives a shit.
Unfortunately, errors happen. I mean, come on. That is so horrible. So the way I read that is that the grade stays, but it should have had a footnote on it. I think if a card is so badly off cut that you don't have the complete card there, it just literally should get the lowest grade possible. What is the actual lowest grade possible? Is it 0.5 or 1? Or is it 0?
I'm not sure, but if you get a 1...
Have you ever seen a PSA 0?
No. I don't know what a 0 would look like. It'd have to be pretty much...
In my head, that's a 0 ad. That is some absolute nonsense.
The surface might be in good nick. It'd get a 1.
Okay, fine. Give it 1. But it's literally 2 cards.
It's definitely not getting a centering. The centering's a bit off.
I mean... And actually, if you break this down a bit further...
The corners might be spot on. The edges might be great. The surface is good. Only problem with it, the center is not quite on center.
Slightly off. I mean, Panini has to take some responsibility here. Well, come on. Where's the quality control there?
It's pretty bad. It's actually terrible, but yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure CGC are going to have a long, successful career competing against PSA.
For sure. Without a doubt.
All right, we have got 3 minutes left. I don't think we're going to have time to go through Wemby Mania. That's probably enough for its own segment on its own.
We'll open with Wemby next episode.
We can do Drew Holiday. This is a fun one. Is Drew Holiday a Hall of Famer? This is from Instagram @thescore. They do some really good content.
Is Drew Holiday okay?
6-time All Defense, 2-time NBA champion, 2-time gold medalist, and 2-time All-Star. Now, the NBA champion one also should have another footnote. He was a champion on 2 different teams with the Bucks and the Celtics. And for me, that means slightly more because it means that you went to a team and took it to the next level. And I believe that in the Drew Holiday case. Now,
I think there's an argument to be made. I think he is a Hall of Famer.
I think some of the people who are now getting to the Hall of Fame, it's getting to the point where it's like, if he doesn't get in, I think we've sort of somehow missed the whole point of the Hall of Fame and acknowledging true champions of the NBA. Yeah. So for me, this is an absolute no-brainer. The last couple of weeks, we've actually been hinting about, is Drew Holiday like a low-key buy? I definitely think that's the case.
Yeah.
The other, I'm going to add this in too, just to rub a bit more salt into the Drew Holiday wound. He's not on card ladder.
Pretty bad, isn't it?
That's how popular he is, and I'm using air quotes now in terms of NBA popularity.
It's pretty bad.
This is an absolute chase card that has to go onto your list, Adam.
This is the last one. I can see it. It's your
Ray Gun, 1 of 1. Prism. That looks like a mosaic print, actually.
It is. It's a special mosaic edition of Prism. Oh my god! And she's in the kangaroo pose.
Is that the kangaroo pose?
It
It
must
looks
be.
like the
I don't know.
sleeping kangaroo or the
It is the sleeping kangaroo. It
or
must
is it
be.
the kangaroo about to kick maybe
Could be.
pose?
It could
Yeah.
be.
The
It could be.
pre-striking kangaroo.
Have
Yeah.
you heard the latest on this?
I haven't, but please tell me because I'm very
Breakdancing
happy.
has been removed from the 2028 Olympic Games. Apparently, it will not be a sport.
So sorry to poo-poo on that. Actually, it was never going to be in the 2028 anyway, regardless of whether she got 3 zeros and danced like a kangaroo. Sorry, mate. Do you know what? There's heaps of. Okay, do we want to?
Oh, we
this?
want to. Do we want to get cancelled?
No, let's not do this. This has got nothing to do. No, we don't want to do this. I just want to laugh at cards.
I do. I do like the custom ray gun card.
I would actually buy that.
Would
not
you?
gonna lie to you. Yeah, I would. It's in some ways it's so Australian. It's funny.
It's pretty cooked.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the comments
right.
in here is pretty funny.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Don't become a meme. Because they'll eat you alive.
Well, actually, apparently she's going to do really well out of this. Like
social media, yeah. Like of all
she's going to have all these offers coming to her and marketing and all the rest of it.
Of course.
And memorabilia and T-shirts and yeah. So there you go.
It's insane. It's actually insane. Oh well. Yeah, not a very quiet off season, is it?
No, there's heaps going on.
Stacks. It's good.
Absolutely heaps. My final thought for today is, keep working on your to-buy list. Keep curating that. And just spend 10 minutes looking at some micro mosaics and just, give them a consideration.
Yeah. And if Steph Curry is not going down in this off-season, there's always next off-season.
Maybe. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We had a fantastic show. We hope you enjoyed it too.
Great show as